All right, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of MCTV 43. That's editing. We're going to be talking a shorter lesson today, talking about some Photoshop and basic animation creations you can do within there by creating something very basic. But it'll give you an idea of how you can incorporate different files. Now, what I want to tell you is this. Go see Dune 2. Dune Part 2. It's really good. I enjoyed it. I saw it Saturday. I've been thinking about the worm all weekend and week, and I was supposed to see it again last night in IMAX, and I want to go see it in IMAX because I want to see those big worms as big as. See, D-Box would be pretty scary. Like you actually ride the worm. But
I saw Avatar in D-Box.
which one? Avatar 2 or what?
Yeah, two.
Yeah, Way of Water. Oh yeah?
The water. Yeah.
Way of Water's too.
yeah.
Way of Water is very good though. Dune and Avatar together unite. Dune and Avatar comes together and erases Star Wars from my memory. It's gone. Baby Gogu, whatever his name is. I don't even know what his name is. He's dead. Got eaten by a worm or Pakayan, the Tolkien, which is of course the whale from Avatar Way of Water, which they bond with. It's like one is like water, the other's sand. So we get two more movies that represent fire and earth than the real Avatar can show up. All right. Enough pop culture. Let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Mateo's going to shout out if I don't. But it's all right. First thing first, share screen, sound on. Yep. Yeah, it's just like Dune. I don't have the popcorn bucket. They were not available for purchase. I would have gotten it. Okay, Mateo, you're seeing this, and I'm going to open up Photoshop here, which is a program that comes with your Adobe suite. And
you can see everything.
okay, thank you, Mateo. Good to hear your voice. Now you're seeing Zoom probably, which I'm saying go away. Okay, here's this. Okay. Now, Photoshop. Why am I in Photoshop? Well, we're gonna make a basic animation. Okay. So what I'm first gonna do is I'm gonna create a PSD, which is a Photoshop file. So what I want to do is I have this blank image, but I actually don't want the blank image. I'm gonna get rid of the background here. In theory, it's supposed to let me do this. No, that's not true. You don't have to do that. Let's just say a new layer. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, you needed one layer.
Yeah. No, you have to unlock it. There's that on the right side.
Well, look, it's gone now, Jason. What do you mean? Look, okay, good. It's unlocked now. Jason's happy. And look, now it's gone again. That I didn't want it. In fact, Jason, there, it's gone. Gone forever. All right. Okay, but in actuality, I'm going to make a couple of layers. So I'm just copying and pasting. Let's give myself 6 layers. Okay, 6 layers. Number 1, let's draw a figure. Okay, I'm going to do, since I'm a great animator, I'm not going to draw a worm. Give me a break. Okay, I'm going to do even more basic. I'm going to do a head. Pretty good. I'm going to do a head layer. I'm going to do a body layer. I'm going to do a leg. I'm going to do another leg. Oh. You know what? I'm going to give him a foot. Oh, cool. Awesome. The problems have started already. All right. Well, while it's working, I barely even touched it. Look, I drew another foot. Okay. Now everyone can see a foot. Mateo, you still seeing stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Now I'm going to do an arm. And you know what? Even on this arm, I'm just going to do like some fingers. He's got 3 fingers. All right. It unplugged again. Pretty awesome. All right. There we go. The next layer we're going to do his other arm. And my final layer, I'll do the face. You know what? I want to do the eyeballs. And then let's give me one more layer. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to actually erase these dots because I don't want the extra ones, okay? And I'm gonna go back and draw this, give him a mouth, and then I'm going to actually go here. And now let's just say layer, new layer, okay? Do one more layer just to make sure. And I'm going to just make a mouth right there. And then our final layer, which we can turn off and see what's in all our layers, right? We can see how they're all individual. The eyes are left here. But do I have another eye layer? Look, I have a mouth layer. I have like a different variation of the mouth layer. I have an arm. Uh-oh, look, I messed up. I did an arm and a leg layer. That's a mistake. There's a layer, there's the body, there's the head, and the eyeballs I have. Okay. So let's go through and fix this one layer. I'm just going to copy and paste it. And what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to move my layer down so it matches. And then I'm going to take this first layer. I'm going to take my eraser. I'm actually going to make it giant and solid. Wait a second. Why is it still there? Well, look, I have both of them on. So if I turn that off, oh, look, now it's just the leg. And now I'm going to do the opposite. We're going to get rid of the leg down here. Okay, so now we can see that if we put it all together, there's my awesome guy. Okay, we need one more layer though. Layer, layer, layer. Okay, layer 10. Right, we're actually to do some color. Something like that, I would think. All right. Now we're going to. Oh, I still got the eraser on. That's my problem. Okay. So now what we're going to do is just draw this over here. Draw that right like that. All right. There we go. All right. There's a worm. Everybody, we can tell it's the worm. Draw. Oh, his eyes are gone. Spoilers for book 3. JK. Not really. It's all right. So now I got my worm. Well, guess what? I'm gonna have to give him a mouth. There we go. There's his mouth. All right. And then let's like I don't know, let's like all right, just give him some worm stuff. Praise the makers, right? That's what we say. You guys know that spice is worm poop, right? All right, there's our worm. I just drew it for no reason. We're not gonna use it. Okay. But look, the reason his eyes are going away is because that layer is obviously in front. Okay, so then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go File, Save As. This isn't a Photoshop class, but let's call it Dune Animation PSD. I'm gonna save it to my desktop. Save. I'm gonna say okay. All right, from here, we're gonna go into our Photoshop or Premiere. We left Photoshop. Now I'm gonna open up my my project. All right, offline all, I don't need that. All right. Let's say yes. We're gonna change our hardware. Of course, we want to change it to where's the input? Oh, we don't need an input. We need an output. Output's that one. Yes. Okay, now they can hear everything. Great. All right. We got some green screen going on here. We'll talk about chroma keying, I think, next week. But let's just look at this as our setting. Great. I love it. All right. First of all, I think it looks horrible. So let's color correct it. Bring up the levels. Just doing some quick and easy, quick and dirty. Color correction, let's saturate it a little bit. Let's go in our creative and add some more saturation, and there we go. This is our setting. All right, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit Control. I'm gonna say Add Frame Hold. Now, what Frame Hold does is it's going to take whatever still you're on, and look, it actually made an edit in here. So this one, we can't really tell because it's not really much going on, but I basically made a freeze frame. Now this freeze frame, I can make as long or as short as I want, but this is an easy way to make a still frame is add frame hold. And basically wherever you are in that still is where you're going to frame hold. Yeah, there you go. All right, now what we want to do is let's import our Photoshop file. Now we haven't really talked about importing Photoshop files, but we remember how to import. We can drag or drop, or we can do Command I, which is import. And we put it where in my documents, if I remember correctly, date modified. Stupid thing turned off because it hates me. But it's all right. Did I put it on my desktop? Yes, my desktop. Okay, do an animation. I'm going to import. Now, what's interesting about when you import a Photoshop file, you get multiple options. You can have one, merge all layers, merge layers, individual layers, or sequence. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let's go through. Merge all layers. Okay, I say okay, and now I can see my Dune animations right here. And if I drag and drop it onto our thing right here, the thing's turned off, we can see there's my animation. But the issue with this, of course, is all the layers are merged. And what does that mean? That means, hey, guess what? I can, if I want to do some rudimentary animations, like make it move around and stuff, all of the elements that I drew are going to stand there, right? Like, remember, basically, we're going to talk about keyframing different elements. Okay. Keyframing elements. And we can see that it moves up and down or left or right, all as one combined merged image. So Photoshop's going to have lots and lots of layers. You can say, bring it all in as one merged image. But hey, let's see what happens if we do the other options. This must be Tim teaching. Why would he say this? Or point this out directly. Okay, we can say merged layers. Now, what's interesting is in Premiere, well, let's merged layers. So we did merged layers, and ultimately it's all the same. Okay, same exact result. Well, look at the difference. We're going to do it again. Okay, we can do it again. We can say merge layers, and actually we can go through and say, hey, you know what? We don't need that worm. Let's say, okay, now our new animation is we can see that, hey, we got Paul all by himself. Hey, I'm Paul. It's my computer, apparently. It's my computer. Hey, I'm Paul. What, Jimmy Neutron? Yeah, but that one doesn't work, I don't think. Okay. Well, but look, you can see here's Paul. Hey, I'm Paul. And then what I can do is I can actually go and say, okay, well, I'm gonna import again. Let's do our Dune animation again. And then let's do merged layers. And then guess what? I'm gonna turn off all of the Paul stuff. And just bring in the worm. Bring in the worm. All right. So now we have layer 10. It even knows it's its own individual layer. There's the worm. All right. So look, now the worm and Paul can move independently of each other. And in fact, while we're at it, let's put the worm there. And guess what? Hey, that's a pretty small worm. But guess what? Oh, look, there's Paul. He's going to ride this worm. I'm gonna nest my sequence into one sequence right here. And I bet the worm's gonna be cut off. Yep, look. Can't do that. But what I can do is I can animate it now. And so I'm gonna do position, scale. I'm gonna start it there. And of course, we're gonna have the worm move across the screen and end here. Stupid piece of junk projector. Position, scale.
Oh,
Yeah, let's all just like stand over my shoulder and watch me be completely annoyed by this. All right. Sorry about the technical issues, but here, let's make Paul over here and la-di-da. Let's see, la-di-da. All right. Let's see how well our animation goes.
Wait for the insane to confess so you can throw them in some whack house for the crazy.
Okay, so we just made some basic, almost Flash-like animation here in Premiere. Why would we want to do this? Well, you can definitely it's just a keyframing exercise. And in fact, you know what? Production value is always good, right? All right. Let's just take this. Of course, I'm going to use my program that I've all recommended to all of you to clip grab. Clip grab's going to open up. All right. Remind me later. Download up my own update. Okay. All right. We got that. We're going to, I just want audio only. Let's grab this clip and say save. It's going to my desktop and it's converting. Here we go. Piece of cake, right? Just copy and paste to YouTube. I'm basically stealing the song. But what's the point? We're making a Dune video. We need some Dune music. It's more dramatic that way. Because look, already, this is better than most Star Wars already. Look at it.
Insane to confess so you can throw
Look at
them
Paul. Look at Paul. All right, but here's the thing. My Paul right here. I'm going to do my keyframe, but then what's going to happen to my Paul is he's going to fall off. This isn't the true Paul. All right. All right, so he's going to fall off. All right, I'm going to zoom into my keyframes here and go over. Anakin wouldn't fall off. What do you mean? He fell off of the yeah, exactly. He fell off of the bike when they were chasing the assassin. Turned out to be a shapeshifter. Oh, I know. I forgot about. I don't know anything about Star Wars.
The
All right.
assassin that hired the assassin.
Django Fett. Yeah.
That hired the drone.
All right. Let's see our animation. Ah! Okay. And then we want the worm to continue. We want this to continue. We'll have the word. Okay.
house for the crazy.
Okay. As we can see, animation's not quite there yet. But we can see the keyframe is going to allow us to do a lot of little fun stuff. Okay, while we're at it, again, Command I. I'm going to go to my desktop. Hey, do an official soundtrack. Oh, great. Okay, great. Yeah, that one. Say keep one. All right, let's take this. And then we're just going to lay it over our stuff here. Let's see. Oh, it's a muted layer. Let's just get I feel like it turned off behind me. That's cool. It's all right. Stupid mother. Oh, look. Share screen is stopped because your external display has been stopped. This is what happened last time. Great. And loving it. Okay. Is it going to share again? Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to share the screen again. Mateo, you got my back. All right. We're back. Should be able to see stuff. You know what? Only say something if you need You can't see Mateo. That's the call. All right. All right. That's what we want. That's this part of the song. We're gonna go find our worm. And lo and behold, the spoilers for Dune Part 2. But it goes a little something like this. Dang, guys, very dramatic scene. Very, very dramatic. Okay. Okay. So we have our freeze frame. Now, what's interesting, of course, is our worm just appears on screen, right? And so in order to fix it, we would need to go in and change our animation, which of course would change all of our points. So let's get Paul off screen. Let's get the worm all the way off screen. And now it's probably going to be not quite. Look, okay, he's flying. Okay, Paul, that's not very good positioning for you. So let's fix you right there. And then, okay, we know that Paul has to be farther back. So he's flying faster than the worm is flying. So that's probably bad. But again, this is all like keyframe animation. So we want to change the speed. He's pretty good right there. So let's keep that positioning. Still moving too fast, right? So we're going to build another keyframe to keep him on there. Then we're going to just go and make another keyframe so he stays with, and he's still, oh my gosh. And why is the worm going slower now? Well, it's because we adjusted the worm's keyframe back. So now the worm moves slower. Oh, and he fell off way too quick. All right, so he flies all the way over there and falls off. Okay, but you can see the elements of what my point is in the animation. Okay. Let's go back into, let's go Command I. We're going to import our Dune animation again. What can we do? Another element, individual layers. Okay, what's interesting is I can say, okay, and look, it actually made a bin or a folder here, and now I have each individual layer. Why is this good? If we put it over here, we can see, oh, there's his eyes. Layer 1 is his eyes. Layer 2 is his arm. Layer 3, his other arm. Layer 4, his leg, and so on and so forth, right? Or I can honestly probably do it the easiest way and go, hey, there's all the layers. But look, it's all going to like lay them down one next to one next to one. So that's why I was building it this way. Layer 4. Let's do layer 5. And you can see as Paul slowly gets built back together. Now, why would I want all of these layers separate? Any guesses? Yes, absolutely. I can use all of these layers to create movement in Paul himself, right? So let's say, okay, these are his eyes. Well, keyframe alone, I can just make him, let's make him blink, okay? How would I make him blink in my animation? Any guesses? Opacity's one. Easiest way, I'm just gonna like cut out a portion here. Oh, there you go. One frame blink. Okay, let's make it longer. He's a more dramatic blink. Okay, there we go. Now he's blinking there. All right. What's fun about this too, of course, is looking at all his layers. Remember, I drew 2 separate mouths. So let's see which one it is. Okay, so it's layer 7 and layer 8. So we can make him talk by ultimately, cutting his head off. That didn't work. Cut the wrong layer. We're gonna cut right here. I'm gonna cut right here. Anyone see how they animate mouths in animation at all? It's essentially multiple layers and different talking symbols. So like South Park has like 4 or 5, a circle, a open mouth, an open mouth, teeth, no teeth. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just delete portions of talk here, and let's see if he talks. Oh, he's blinking a lot. Okay, where was our blink layer? Up here? The blink kind of ruins the effect, but let's see him talk now. All right, let's get rid of this. Hey, I'm Paul. Okay. All right. Okay. So look, hi, I'm Paul. Okay, great. Okay. So what can we do to affect this layer? Well, check this out. Just because I love production value, let's go back to our settings. We're going to go to our audio hardware. Remember when I said default thing doesn't matter? Well, let's change it. We're going to make it into the MacBook Pro microphone. I'm going to say yes. This is just my computer microphone that you're hearing. And then, hey, have we ever noticed that on our audio layers, we have this little element right here that says voice over record? Oh, guess what? Guess what we're going to do? Hit record. 3, 2, 1. Oh, geez. Okay. So what happened was it started recording. It started our record over where the in point was. So great. Now we know that. Let's go over here. Also, it did show me that we may have an issue with this because I'm going to set a new endpoint, but I think we're going to have an issue because it's going to be feedback. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually let's go into our settings here. Let's do it so we're not going to hear feedback. I'm going to change my default output just to my MacBook Pro speakers, just for right now. I'm going to say, okay, let's record.
But we aren't at the police station.
3, 2, 1. I'm going to write the word. All right. I'm going to write. Okay. So the input is hearing itself. That's what feedback is. If you ever hear feedback, it's because your audio source is too close to your input source. So we've all, I'm sure, been to a concert or where someone has a speaker and they say something, and we get the squelch. Well, what we're hearing is a infinite playback loop. And what does that mean? That means all audio is waves, right? Like we can see them all right here. This is what audio looks like. It's our sound waves fly out of our mouths and they're invisible to us. But a microphone takes that in and converts that to sound. But if the microphone's and then spits out of a speaker, now if the speaker and the microphone are right next to each other, it's basically a feedback loop that just still get louder, louder, louder and squelch. And that's what happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put my earbuds in just so I can say I'm going to ride the worm. We're going to go right here. I'm going to, of course, look, okay, so nothing happened. It's coming out of my speakers of my computer because I didn't change it. So let's put the input is the speakers. The output's going to be my AirPod Pros right here. Pro, because I'm a pro. All right, here we go. I'm going to ride the worm. All right. Now I'm going to change all my settings back. This is totally worth it, by the way. Totally worth it. I'm going to put it back here. I'm going to say yes. Speakers are fine. Let's say okay. Now let's take a look. Here's what Paul's going to say. I'm going to ride the worm. Okay. So we're getting audio from somewhere else. Let's mute that. I'm going to ride the worm. Okay. So how do we feel like about the mouth movements? I'm going to ride the worm. Probably a little late, right? I'm going to ride the worm. Maybe it's too much, but all right, let's check it out. We can. All right, let's. All right, well, look, we can just. I'm gonna ride. All right, we want it to be the first edit. Here we go. I'm gonna ride the worm. There we go, worm. All right, Now, my Paul is gonna be way more excited than that. So what do you think he's gonna do? Jumping? We can definitely make him jump. There's his head. There's his body. There's his leg. Okay. I think he's gonna kick his leg. All right, there's his left leg. There's his left leg right here, right? Yes, left leg. Okay. So let's go in. We're going to do our controls. And what we're going to do is we're going to do effect control. Now, first and foremost, we want to change our anchor position to do that, because look what happens if I rotate this. It's going to go from that spot, but essentially it's going to fly around. Remember, it's not connected, but we want to keep it as connected to his body as possible. Well, so essentially the anchor point's the center. And what we can do with this anchor point is we can change. Okay, so getting into this, essentially, see this center point right here? This center point determines the center middle of the position of our animation. So what we need to do is change the anchor point. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move my anchor point, and I'm going to put my thing right here. Why am I going to do that? Because now look, when I rotate in the middle, it's the anchor point is the center point of the screen. That's going to be the element. So now what I can do is I can use the position. Now the position is going to be adjustable, and I'm going to put the leg back where it needs to go. All right. But we can see that the blue anchor point that's right here is our center. So what does that mean? That means my animation, which I'm going to turn on the rotation now. I'm going to do the rotation, and I'm going to have it go there. And then I'm going to have it go like up there. And then I'm going to have it. Oh, nope, I'm flying away. Undo. Did I click on something else? What happened? Should be on my anchor points. Should be normal. Okay. And then I'm going to have it go there. All right. So here's Paul now. Let's look how excited he is.
I'm gonna ride the worker.
He's pretty excited, right? All right. Now let's do the other thing I want to do. I'm going to leave that hand there. We can do some blinking, right? There's some blinking. All right. This is the hand I wanted. Hand 2. Again, let's go with our anchor point. And then remember, it's easy to know, like, okay, I want to put my anchor point at the end of his arm. So let's go and move our anchor point. We're going to move it there. And let's just make it so it's right there. And then a good way to test is we'll fly it around and make sure, okay, cool. All right, he's going to be super stoked. We're going to do this. And we're going to put his arm right there. Kind of want it to look good. Okay, now let's turn our rotation keyframe on. Okay, our rotation keyframe's right there. And I'm going to, oh, look, he's going to slap his face. I'm going to make him slap his knee. All right. And then he's going to, I don't know, wiggle it a little bit. He's going to wiggle that a little down more. Okay, here's our animation now.
I'm gonna ride the worker.
All right. As you can see, for proper fluid animation, I'm doing it just really simply, right? Makes sense to everybody? That's the point of this whole thing. Okay, so now that we have individual layers, right? Wow, we want to put them on the worm, right? Or do we just cut to this animation? Actually, that's pretty good. All right, let's look at let's edit everything together. And let's make our little sequence. So
The worker.
all right, let's just edit out all this stuff. We're gonna get rid of all our extra layers, right? And then let's cut right here. And I'm just cutting every layer. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change my tool to the arrow tool. I'm gonna select everything there, hit delete. We should, oh, look, I deleted a whole layer because I didn't cut it in time, but it doesn't matter. And here we go. Here's our animation. Y'all ready for Dune 3?
I'm gonna ride the worm.
All right. So how can we make this better? Well, it's pretty perfect, but the big thing I'm going to change is I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to change the background, and I'm going to crop in on the background. And we're going to just do something like this. All right. Okay. Here we go. Second time, even better. And it unplugged just in time. All right, here we go.
I'm gonna ride the worm.
Should have done it full screen, right? Like that would have been better. All right. Last time. Then I'll show you, teach you one more thing.
I'm gonna ride the worm.
I'm sorry. It's so funny because it's like so true. It really means something to me. Okay. All right. So that's some basic animation. Obviously, we could animate. We just chose to animate like 3 different elements. Should have made them blink at least once, probably. But let's go back to Command I. Let's go back to our Photoshop file. And the last option was, remember, merge all layers, merge layers, individual layers, or sequence. What happens if we do sequence? Let's say, okay. And look, it's given us another folder. But if we go down here, look, this symbol right here, of course, means it's a sequence. So if we double click in the sequence, remember when I had to layer everything on top of each other? Well, guess what? Essentially now, let's move the worm. We're going to take rid of the worm. And then, okay, check out this element right here. That's new bin. That's not the one I want to show you. Okay. There's an element here that says new item. Let's say new item. Let's go with, we're going to go with color matte. New item color matte right here will allow us to make an all solid color. What color is Dune? Yellow, probably. Okay, there we go. Yellow. We're going to call this yellow. And now we created, I spelled yellow wrong, but whatever. Okay, so now we can see that Paul is right here. And we can take any of these elements and, oh, look, could I give Paul a nose with his mouth instead, or he's got a mustache. Oh yeah, it's the breathing tube. It's the still suit. Good one. Great call. All right, so there's Paul. All right. Now what's interesting, so like I said, so what's interesting about this is, let's say I do all my animations in here in my new sequences called Dune animation. But what's great is our sequences can be called, or what's called recumbent. And what does that mean? That means you can drag and drop a sequence that you've edited into another sequence. Why would I want to do that? Well, let's take my Dune animation. And in fact, looky right here. Here's my Dune animation. Well, let's double click. We go back to our sequence. Let's turn off the yellow. Yellow turned off. Yes. Okay. Now we're back here. And look, this Paul, I can now control all of this Paul by himself as his own individual layer. Why would I want to do that? Why do you think? Well, guess what? I can resize him completely based off of this one collected sequence. The problem is if I go over to this Paul and I say, oh, you know what? He's too big. I want to make him smaller. and I scale this down 50%. Well, look, it only scales his eyes there. Well, that's a pain in the butt to have to do that for every layer. And in fact, let's take all of these layers that I did. I'm going to cut. I did Command X, which is cut. And I'm actually going to go here in my Dune animation. And guess what? In my Dune animation, I'm going to delete everything in the Dune animation and say paste. All right, now we have our Paul animation here. It's black on black, so we really can't see it. Let's put our Lelo back there. Turn it on and watch. I'm gonna ride the worm, right? Like we didn't, and we could even, what's interesting about your subsequences is like, let's take this and we could put this in here because it's a sequence that is all by itself.
I'm gonna ride the worm.
All right, there's our Paul. Let's turn off. Let's turn off the yellow. I just thought of what I'm gonna do. That's why I'm laughing. All right, and what's notable is let's go here into our bring this sequence. Now note, this time when I'm bringing it, it's just not, it's audio and video. So I can see where the waveforms are is, and obviously it's a transparent layer, but let's go over a backdrop. And now we can see.
I'm gonna ride the worm.
All right, our audio and our video is synced there. Great. We're happy with that? Makes sense? All right, well, I'm going to cut this element out. Let's go right there. And let's take these two elements. I'm going to ride the worm. And we're actually going to go to the... Let's go to the worm. Let's go to the worm right here. And let's actually make the Paul that's talking ride the worm. Okay, so I pasted it. As we can see, now he's the lower layer. So let's put him on the upper layer. All right, let's get rid of little Paul. Oh, that's the worm. Little Paul's there. Okay. Okay, now this Paul's too big, right? So what's going to happen? I'm going to drag this layer out so we can do all the animation. Okay, here's the problem. My Paul disappears. How can I fix that? Absolutely. Go to your sequence. And now we're going to go to our Pauls right here. And we're just going to make them longer. And guess what? I don't want it to run out the back end either. So let's do this and drag it all the way that way. Gives me more options. And as you can see now my Paul will last the entire sequence, right? He's there the whole time. Okay, now our big issue is we want him to be small. Great. All right, and we want him to end right about here, yes? So remember, we're going to mess with our position. Go. All right. And we're going to go a little bit more. Paul's probably ending there. Okay. Let's just watch our basic animation now at this point.
I'm gonna ride the worm. I'm gonna ride the worm.
Oh, he said, I'm going to ride the worm twice. Oh, we don't need that twice. Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna ride the worm. I'm gonna ride the worm.
All right. So you can see, not only is he animating, right, but he's also following the path. Again, animation is much more, there's a lot more elements of there's a lot more elements of keyframing, right? Like you would almost in a real animation, not like my excellent Dune animation, we might consider, we might maybe potentially would consider keyframing every single keyframe. But just by like going in and making some of these elements. What? This. Okay. All right. We're going to watch it one last time. I ultimately think it was funnier when he said, I'm going to ride the worm, and then we see him ride the worm. But for teaching's sake, here we go.
I'm gonna ride the worm.
Funny. That's pretty good. All right. Well, we just run out of worm, I think. We run out of Paul. So what can we do? We can make Paul longer. And there you go. There's our animation. Okay. You're going to have the rest of class to work on your own edits. Remember, I'm going to say this again. April 20th, I expect you all to show up at the showcase, please, for extra credit, 100 points extra credit, 10% of your grade. April 20th. Hopefully you all have edited or turned in something that can be submitted. But at the very least, get there, take a picture with a winner, someone holding a Gabby Award, and we'll go from there. Questions or comments about basic animation you're bringing in? I also showed you like how to create a color solid. I also showed you how to record voiceover audio. A little warning next time, Jason. Appreciate it. Okay. Should have said striking. Do I have to submit something? I just want to continually see your work. So just know that all of you, even people at home, at least once a week now at this point, and you can show me something that you've been working on. It can just be something that's different, or you've changed parts of your edits. I just need to know that you're editing. The point of this class is to give you plenty of opportunity to edit. So if you're working on it at home, you can jump off Zoom, or if you're at home not watching the Zooms or not doing anything, you're not getting any credit or any stuff. If I don't see anything, at the very least, you need to show me something that you're working on. So yes, the rest of the time is going to be for your, okay, Mateo's good. All right, thank you, Mateo. I'm going to stop recording, but everyone at home who's watching this, please consider, and if you want extra credit and make a Dune video, just like me, I gotta say my worm is pretty decently drawn. I can't really draw, but look, let's watch it one more time, okay? It's just good. Like, let's go look at it. You know what? I know how to make this better. Watch this. We're gonna make it better. We're gonna do it simply by doing this. I'm going to go, kind of screwed it all up, but we'll make it better. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my timeline here. I'm going to just like cut all of this. Right. And we're going to cut. Let's do it all right here. I'm going to just do all of this. And then I'm going to go say V, which I'm going to select everything. I'm going to say copy. And then I'm not going to delete it out of there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paste it all here. And then we're going to take, let's do undo. I want to undo all this. Oh, I want to do that. And then let's do it right here, paste. All right, I did a pretty decent job right there. Let's just move it over a tiny bit. Okay. Oh, the yellow is what is screwing everything up, but that's all right. And I think I screwed that up, but that's okay. Let's do that over there. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. I have a feeling my video is going to be great.
Let's see. I'm gonna ride the word.
No, bad, horrible, already upset. Parts of him disappeared before the rest, so essentially I just need all of these elements to go over here. Go over there. Okay, great.
Let's see. I'm gonna ride the word.
All right. Here we go.
Let's see. I'm gonna ride the word. I'm gonna ride.
Oh, I messed up. I didn't want him to say it the second time. All right, here we go. Okay. All right. This is the process. This is the editing process. You know, watch everything a million times until it's perfect. And let's just say this video is near perfect. You think I could convince Grant to put this in the showcase?
He's just gonna be like, dude, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the budget for this?
Let's see. I'm gonna ride the word.
So sad because he dies. All right. In my video, no spoilers for the thing. Okay, I'm having trouble getting my stick figure to import properly. Is it because I need to save it as a PNG? I have all the layers separate too. It needs to be a PSD. So if you're in Photoshop, a PSD. If you import it as a PNG, it's going to be a merged image. PSD is what you need for Photoshop. So it's all the individual layers are saved separately. PNGs are great to import for Premiere. Why? Who knows? Why are PNGs good? They preserve transparency. So if I just wanted a little stick figure drawing, I could say save, and then it would come in like an emerged layer. So PNGs are big time. If you have a logo that you want to put on, ask for a PNG with a client, or make your own PNG by, yeah, highest quality, going to be big resolutions. You know, you might get a TIFF or a Acrobat file, SVG. Those tend to be lower resolutions. For video, you want high resolutions. In fact, I didn't show you, but when I was in Photoshop, I started with new, and then I did 1920 by 1080 because I knew that's going to be HD, right? Like that's our resolution, and you can see my resolution 72, which is the highest resolution you can do in video for a still image when you're exporting still image. FYI. Hey, while we're talking, I'll teach you one more thing. What if I like wanted to show this beautiful image to my wife on this screen? Now I could export just as an image, right? I could go, where's the option to save it as a PSD? Well, that's the standard file. So if we're in Photoshop here and I go File, Save As, it's automatically a PSD. So save, not export. So save, format, Photoshop. There you go. Great. Okay, well, let's say I want to send this image to my wife right here. It's a beautiful image, right? Well, there's two ways. Number one, I'm going to set an in point and an out point. I'm going to go File, Export, Export Media. Some media is offline. Great. Okay, we're going to call this Dune 3. And we're going to now choose, now it'll be a video. It'll be a single frame video. That's not good. So let's change the format. Well, there's multiple formats in here, but look, JPEG, that's a still image. I know that. There's a JPEG. I'm going to say export. Groovy. Okay, well, guess what? What if I have in and out points here and I say file, export, export media. I'm going to then go here into my JPEG, and I'm going to do something that's called okay, I'm going to do my JPEG. And if I hit export here, if I hit export, it'll export every single frame as a JPEG. So we'll end up with over 3,000 images, each single frame. It's just not whatever your cursor's on, okay? It's called an image sequence. Well, I say all this to tell you, let's go back to our edit. I'll show you the easiest way to export something. It doesn't even have to be this giant screen, right? Where's the worm? All right. All right, here we go. I want this image specifically. All right, let's look at this. This image specifically, well, there's a bunch of icons down here that all represent different things. I hope you've been playing around with them. Look, oh, comparison view. Oh, wow, there's no reference to look at yet. But right here is a camera. Guess what the camera does? It says export frame. I'm going to export the frame. I'm going to call it Dune 3.5. And it's a JPEG, or I could make it a DPX, I can make it a PNG, a TIFF, a Targa, a whole bunch of different options. Let's do a JPEG. And then I'm going to say, you could even choose to import it into the project. Let's say, okay. All right, now that I've imported it into the project, we can see that it's saved as a still image, is up here by itself. Now I can drag it into its own image, and we can see it's basically its own image now. That's a single still frame. All right, makes sense. That was a bonus lesson. I'm going to stop my share. I'm going to say thank you, Mateo. I'm going to end the recording. Mateo, feel free to